Hello and welcome to Seabird International. In today's lesson, I am going to talk about IELTS Writing Task 2, Introduction Paragraph. Now behind me right here, I have written down a sentence and I am going to make it more complex and change the structure of this sentence to get a high band score introduction. Now, there are two things that are very important for an introduction. However, I've written down three. Can you guess which one you do not need? Okay, I'm going to give you the answer. You do not need the hook, and by the hook I mean it is an interesting line or an interesting sentence at the beginning of your introduction. You do not need this for an IELTS writing essay. If you were to write a general essay, I would say yes, start your essay with an interesting line. Usually the teachers do advise to start an essay with an interesting line, but however, I would not recommend using or writing the hook or writing an interesting sentence in the beginning of your essay because the examiner is not looking for it. So avoid wasting your time thinking of an interesting sentence at the beginning of your essay. Background statement. Now, background statement is equal to paraphrasing. It basically wants you to paraphrase the sentence given to you right here. So for background statement, we are going to paraphrase the sentence. Thesis statement. Now, it's a bit tricky, but usually in the thesis statement, for example, in the sentence, it is asking you to what extent do you agree. Now for the thesis statement, you need to answer whether you agree or do not agree or what you feel about the topic. Now I'm going to tell you how to write a background statement for the sentence. The best way to improve health is to do regular exercise. To what extent do you agree? For the background statement, I added a new word. Can you spot what word is it? Correct. The most effective method in developing, that's the word I added, in developing and improving health is considered to be daily exercise. Now, I inserted the word developing for the examiner to know that I have a good hold over the language and I have a good vocabulary. I still used the word improving, however, they used improve and I am using improving to tell the examiner that I am good with tenses and I have a good understanding of making the sentences look more complex. The most effective method in developing and improving health is considered to be daily exercise. Now for the thesis statement for the sentence, as I stated earlier, you have to give your opinion. To what extent do you agree? In my opinion, I agree. That is, if you agree. In my opinion, I agree that exercise is the key to health. However, I only do not feel that only exercise can improve your health. However, I also believe that diet is important. So I introduced a new idea about diet being important for being healthy, and I also added a phrase, is the key to health. Now that is high band score. Now I am going to tell you how the introduction looks after we make some changes in the background statement and we write a thesis statement. Now the most effective method to developing and improving health is considered to be daily exercise. In my opinion, I agree that exercise is the way to health. However, I also believe that diet is important. Now that turns out to be the introduction after making a few changes and after changing the sentence structure. Now the sentence that we were given earlier was about a 5 or 5.5 band score kind of a sentence. Now this is considered to be high band score sentence because we made so many changes in it and the grammar is more complex, the vocabulary we're using is complex, and it gives the examiner a thorough understanding that you do know how to use the language properly and you have a good hold over it. One thing I would like to mention at last is to keep the introduction short. from about 30 to 50 or 55 words, not more than that. I do not want you guys to waste a lot of time on the introduction, since you will not have a lot of time left for your body paragraphs. Remember, you are only given 40 minutes to complete this task. So for say, if you take out 5 minutes for reading and checking out the corrections you've made, you still are just left with 35 minutes. Please be sure to concentrate more on the body paragraphs. Keep practicing. That was all for today's lesson.